Hello and welcome to IndianExpress.com, and today we are reviewing the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. Now this of course is the latest foldable phone from Samsung, but unlike the Fold, this has a more compact form factor. It's got the classic clamshell design, and yes, you have to flip this phone open to take a call, even answer your WhatsApp messages and watch Netflix. But is this the right phone for you, even though it looks rather cool? Let's find out in our review. So let's quickly take a look at what's changed this time. Now, if you take a cursory glance at the design, it might not seem that there's much to differentiate between this and last year's Z Flip 3. But in fact, there are subtle changes. For one, the hinge's internal mechanism has changed. It's also not occupying as much of the space on the outer glass as it was last time. The phone is also slightly more compact compared to the Z Flip 3. And Samsung has of course increased the battery size on this to 3700 mAh. And yes, the new processor on this is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. So yes, there are a lot of changes inside on the Galaxy Z Flip 4, but you have to be a little careful with this phone. Now while the phone seems ideal to, squish into places such as small clutch bags or even your pant pocket, Samsung does warn that you need to take special care of this foldable display. Samsung says that you need to make sure that no keys or coins get trapped when you are closing the phone and keeping it. So make sure that you don't just fling it into any bag with, keys and other items that could damage the display. Remember, this foldable screen is what you're really paying for out here, and you'll have to work hard to keep that safe if you do plan on getting this device. The only other issue that I have with the design of this device is that it gets covered in smudges very quickly. Now, even this frosty glass gets covered in fingerprints very quickly, and you have to make sure to keep it clean. And Samsung isn't really providing a case in the box, so you'll have to spend extra to get that. Some of the cases that I saw online, I wasn't too pleased by the designs, but Samsung is offering good options, slightly more premium looking, but you can check them out. Of course, they will cost you a bit extra. So let's talk about the display. Now this has an AMOLED screen, it's a full HD Plus screen, and as expected from Samsung, it is a top-notch display. No matter the content, whether you're just scrolling on Facebook or watching a lot of shows on Netflix like I did, I quite enjoyed the experience. The display works very well, you get very rich colors, and it can handle most light situations very well. Even in bright sunlight, the display is perfectly legible. I did notice that when I was watching Sandman, I had to really crank up the brightness, but that was more for some of the darker scenes, and that really is an issue for most phones, and I'm not really going to fault Samsung for this. Also keep in mind that you will have to live with that line, that creased line in the middle. Is it a deal breaker? Not for me, but yes, it is noticeable, especially when you're watching content. Now coming to the cover screen, it is useful for glancing quickly at notifications or just seeing what messages you might have waiting for you, or if you have any emails. And you can also access other apps such as the voice recorder or the weather widget or even Samsung Health widget or even the timer, and see your calendar as well. Samsung will also let you use this tiny cover screen to take a selfie using the rear camera as the selfie camera. And you can even take videos as well, but it's a little bit confusing to use this, especially when you're trying to shoot a video or take a photo using the small screen. It does take a bit of while to figure this out. It certainly took me some time to figure this out, and I would say that the screen does demand a little bit of patience. This outside screen, it takes a little while to respond, so I'd say be a little patient when using this. Now when it comes to performance, the Galaxy Z Flip 4 does not compromise in any way. Samsung has packed this with the best-in-class processor right now, which is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. And yes, it can handle resource-intensive and your regular tasks without any problem. I didn't notice any severe heating issues when I was playing heavy-duty games on this. And yes, for daily tasks, it works without any hiccups as it is expected. If you're looking for a good performance-oriented foldable, the Galaxy Z Flip 4 is definitely fulfilling that criteria. But this phone isn't just about the specifications and the RAM, it's also about the software. Now Samsung has packed this with flex mode, floating windows, split screen, and you need to go to the advanced settings to turn some of these features on. The floating windows feature works fine. I tried it out on Netflix mostly, but it's a bit of a confusion to figure it out. As far as the flex mode is concerned, it can be turned on for most of the apps such as Facebook and Gmail. Idea here is to let you use the app hands-free while the phone is in this particular position. It's something that users will appreciate, but figuring it out can get a little bit confusing. Now, coming to the battery, which really is the biggest letdown on the Galaxy Z Flip 4, and that's also to do with the form factor that you're dealing with. Now, this one has a 3700 mAh battery, which might give you around 6 to 7 hours with a moderate day, but we know this won't be enough for most people, especially those who have heavy-duty work and personal lives and are juggling it both on the phone. I would also say the other problem is the charging, because Samsung is not bundling a charger in the box and the fast charging is limited to 25 watts. This means that even if you do find a regular charger for this, you should be prepared to put aside 2 to 3 hours to get it to 100%, which you don't really want nowadays with so many fast charging options available. Now let's talk about the camera. Samsung says it has improved the camera on the Galaxy Z Flip 4 with an improved sensor, improved night mode, and I found the camera to be quite impressive. Especially if you're taking it out for a bright, sunny, blue sky kind of day, the Galaxy Z Flip 4's camera really shines, and the photos it gives out, they have plenty of details, they look sharp, and they're very vivid. Of course, there is that Samsung tendency to pump up and amp up the colors a bit, but hey, they all look very good for social media. Even the no-light photos come out very well with enough details, provided you are very still while taking these photos in the night mode. What I didn't care for so much was the portrait mode, especially when I was taking pictures inside, because I noticed that it was smoothing the skin out a bit too much. The skin looked a bit unreal at times. It is a fairly impressive camera, but do keep in mind that it doesn't come with some of the bells and whistles that you might find on other premium flagship cameras. So what's our verdict for the Galaxy Z Flip 4? Well, this is not a phone for everyone, and nor does it aim to be. It's a phone for someone who wants to make a statement with the device that they're carrying. And if you are looking for such a phone, then look no further. The Z Flip 4 is the answer for that. But it is a phone with compromises, and you have to remember that, especially on the battery front, the charging, and even the camera to some extent, especially if I'm going to compare it to other premium phones which cost perhaps even less than this. The Galaxy Z Flip 4 is for those who aren't afraid to take on a new and fun take on technology, who want a new form factor and are okay with some compromises. If all of that is fine with you, then go ahead and pick the Galaxy Z Flip 4.